The stars burned quietly as the Zereth Dominion's war fleet moved through space. Their black metal ships were huge and sharp like blades, cutting across the galaxy without resistance. Planet after planet fell. Cities burned. Defenders were crushed. The Zereth didn't slow down. They didn't fear anything. High Commander Vorgil Khan, leader of the Zereth fleet, stood proudly on the bridge of his flagship, Skyrind. His eyes cold and silver looked at the map of the galaxy. Bright red marks showed their victories. A single blue dot remained in the corner. Earth, he said softly, almost amused, still untouched. Still hoping someone will save them. His officers laughed. To them, Earth was just a forgotten world. No empire, no power. Just humans and their foolish hope. Shall we attack at once? High Commander asked General Sheeran, standing tall beside him. Let them feel dread first. Vorgilkan replied, send a message. Say the Dominion is coming. The message was sent. It echoed through space, reaching Earth and every remaining ally. It was simple and cruel. Surrender or be erased? On Earth, fear spread quickly. Most of the galaxy had already fallen. The Zereth were too powerful, too fast, too many. But in a quiet command center hidden deep below Earth's surface, one woman stared at the message calmly. Her name was Captain Rena Ortiz. She had short black hair, sharp eyes, and a voice that never shook. She stood in front of a dark screen showing the same red fleet approaching. They're finally coming, she whispered. A general beside her looked nervous. Ma'am, we don't have the numbers. We don't have allies left. Should we prepare? To evacuate? No, Rena said. We do what we planned. Wake up the Leviathan. A silence fell across the room. The name was heavy with meaning. For years, Earth had been working in secret, while the galaxy saw them as weak. Humans had built something in the shadows, something not even their friends knew about. It had taken decades, endless resources, and help from a few brave scientists who had defected from alien empires. The Leviathan was more than a ship. It was Earth's final weapon. Far away, hidden behind Jupiter, the Leviathan slept. It was massive, almost like a small moon. Its black armor blended into space. Giant cannons lined its sides. Deep inside, machines hummed quietly, waiting for the command to wake up. Now, that command had been given. Engines lit up like distant stars. The surface of Jupiter reflected the growing lights as the ship began to rise. Back in space, the Zereth scouts noticed strange readings near the solar system. High Commander, an officer called out, a heat signature near Jupiter. Something very large. Vorgilkan frowned. Send a destroyer to investigate. One of their small warships flew toward the signal. Minutes passed, then silence, still no reply. The officer said, they vanished. Send 5 more, Vorgilkan ordered. Again, nothing returned. Finally, one of the Zereth ships caught a blurry image before it went dark. On screen, the fleet watched a giant black shape emerge from Jupiter's shadow. It had no clear shape, no glowing banners, only size and silence. Then the image froze. What is that? General Sharon whispered. Vor Galkin stared. His heart, cold for years, beat a little faster. Back on Earth, news spread. The Leviathan has awakened. All over the world, people stopped what they were doing. They looked up at the night sky. Some whispered prayers, others just smiled. At last, humanity was not helpless. On board the Leviathan, Captain Rena Ortiz stood on the command deck. Around her, officers and engineers worked quickly, powering up systems that had never been used before. Status report, she asked. Shields charging. Weapons online. AI is stable. One officer replied. Good, she said. Take us forward. Let them see us. The ship moved slowly, but with purpose. A single ship against a whole fleet, but this ship was built for exactly that. In the distance, the Zereth fleet watched as the Leviathan came into full view. It was massive, towering, unlike anything they had ever faced. There were no flashy colors, no threats, just a silent force heading their way. Begin scans, Vorgilkan ordered. We need to know what we're facing. But no skin worked. The ship's surface bent sensors. Its power source couldn't be read. It was like the Leviathan didn't want to be understood. Inside the ship, a message was prepared. Captain Ortiz stood still as it was sent, voice steady and cold. Zerth Dominion. This is Earth. You've come too far. Turn around or be stopped. The message reached the Zerth flagship. Vorgil listened, face unreadable. A human ship threatening. Then he clenched his jaw and gave the order. Destroy it. But deep inside, something he hadn't felt in centuries began to return. Fear. Asterisk. The Leviathan moved through space like a silent mountain. Its black armor reflected no light. It had no flags, no glowing signs, just strength, just purpose. Captain Rena Ortiz stood on the command deck, watching her screens, round her crew. Worked quickly, everyone moved with care. This wasn't just a ship, it was Earth's final hope. The bridge lights were low. Blue screens showed the Zerth fleet slowly forming a wall near Mars. The enemy was gathering more ships, but Leviathan didn't stop. We'll reach firing range in 4 minutes, said Lieutenant Harris. His voice was calm, but his hands shook. Hold course, Rena replied. We won't fire first, not yet. Below the surface of the ship, deep in its core, the systems continued waking up. Long tunnels of steel lit with soft blue lights. Giant engines hummed with quiet power. Robotic arms adjusted weapons the galaxy had never seen before. The Leviathan's AI named Sentinel spoke in a smooth, peaceful voice. Captain, we are at 97% operational readiness. All systems green. Awaiting your final battle command. Rena closed her eyes for a moment. She remembered the years of work, the secret meetings, the sacrifices. Some people had given everything to build this ship. Now, they were about to see if it had all been worth it. She opened her eyes. Prepare for visual contact. Out near Mars, the Zerth warfleet hovered in perfect formation. Their ships were shaped like long blades, thousands of them, each filled with soldiers trained for one purpose: conquest. High Commander Vorgil watched from the Skyren's bridge. He stared at the giant black shape moving closer. It doesn't look like a warship, said one officer. It has no banners, no signal codes. It's not a ship, Vorgil growled. It's something else. They have faced many enemies before: giant cruisers, living star beasts, plasma storms, but never had anything approach them with such silence. So calm, so cold. Destroy it, Vorgil said. Crush it before it gets closer. A group of Zerth destroyers broke away from the fleet, fast and sharp. They rushed forward like angry hornets. Their weapons charged. Bright lights flashed. They fired beams, missiles, plasma. The blasts hit Leviathan head-on. Smoke and fire filled the space around the giant ship. For a few seconds, the Zerth cheered. But then the smoke cleared. Leviathan still floated forward. No damage. No reaction. It just kept coming. One of the Zerth captains shouted. Shields didn't go down. It absorbed everything. Back on the Leviathan, the energy screens flickered once, then went back to full strength. Captain Rena gave her first battle order. Activate defense grid. Return fire. Just a warning shot. A second later, a single beam of golden light flashed from Leviathan's side. It moved faster than thought. It cut through space and touched one of the enemy ships. That Zerth destroyer vanished in a second. Not exploded, gone. Turned into vapor. The other 4 ships turned sharply and fled. On the Zerth flagship, silence filled the bridge. What was that? Whispered one officer. Vorgil clenched his fists. That was a message. Back on Earth, the people watched through live streams. Satellites near Jupiter had started recording. The whole world saw their ship, the Leviathan, standing alone against the enemy. In cities, towns, and villages, people stopped working. They stood in the streets, staring at giant screens, old and young, rich and poor. Everyone watched together. They had felt small for so long, forgotten by the galaxy. But now, they stood taller. This was humanity's answer, in the control room of Leviathan. The ship's AI spoke again. Enemy fleet is regrouping. They are afraid. Shall I prepare the next weapon? Captain? Rena nodded. Bring up Black Rain. but do not fire unless they charge again. Below the ship's hull, giant missile doors open. From them came strange, heavy rods, solid metal, sharpened at the front, glowing softly at the tips. Black rain was a kinetic weapon. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. It simply dropped from high above, falling fast enough to tear through metal, shielding, and anything in its path. It had never been used in real battle before. The Zereth fleet saw the rods forming and moved back. Fear spread between their ships. Some commanders spoke of retreat, but not Vorgil Khan. He had never lost, not once. And he would not start now. We outnumber them, he growled. One ship cannot defeat the Zereth Dominion. But deep in his heart, he was no longer sure. Leviathan hovered in space, still silent, still alone, but stronger than anything they had ever faced. And it was only beginning. The black shape of the Leviathan loomed large before the vast Zereth fleet. Hundreds of warships surrounded it, their weapons ready to fire. High Commander Vorgil stood firm on his bridge, watching the human warship. His silver eyes narrowed. "This is a mistake," he muttered. "One ship against all of us. It will fall." The fleet formed a circle, tightening round the Leviathan like a giant net. Ships fired beams of energy, missiles, and plasma blasts. The sky of space lit up with destruction. But the Leviathan stayed strong. Its shields flared bright blue, bending the enemy fire like water round a rock. Every blast struck the ship's hull and faded inside the Leviathan. Captain Rena Ortiz watched the battle unfold on her main screen, shields holding at 100%. Said Lieutenant Harris, "No damage." Rena nodded calmly. "Ready the main weapon. We won't just defend. We will strike back." The bridge fell silent except for the steady hum of machines. The crew waited, their hearts beating with tension and hope. Then Rena spoke. "Fire the arclight beam." A soft thrum began deep inside the ship. Energy built up, glowing brighter and brighter in the core. Outside, a thin, brilliant beam of golden light burst from the Leviathan's bow. It shot forward, faster than the eye could follow. The beam struck the nearest Zereth cruiser. A moment of silence, then the ship shattered like glass, pieces scattering in space. Shock rippled through the Zereth fleet. "Impossible," shouted an officer. "No one has weapons this powerful." But the Leviathan did not stop. The beam fired again and again, cutting through for more cruisers in seconds. The fleet staggered. Vorgil slammed his fist on the console. "Destroy it. Focus all fire on the human ship." The fleet obeyed, beams and missiles converging on the Leviathan. Again, the shields glowed bright. Again, the Leviathan held. The battle raged on for minutes, neither side able to claim victory. Then the Leviathan did something unexpected. Its engines flared, and the ship moved forward with speed and purpose. It was no longer waiting. Rena's voice was calm but firm. "Target the fleet's command ship." The giant flagship of the Zereth was the heart of their force. Destroy it, and chaos would spread. The Leviathan's main cannons charged with a deep blue light. Seconds later, a powerful blast tore through space, hitting the enemy flagship's hull with a thunderous impact. Alarms screamed on the Zereth ship. Fires broke out. The flagship rocked violently on its bridge. Vorgil Khan's face showed the first real sign of fear. "Shields are failing," shouted an officer. "We are losing power." Vorgil steadied himself. "This is not over." But the damage was done. The fleet's formation broke. Some ships began to retreat. Others struggled to hold position. The Leviathan didn't give them time. "Fire black rain," Rena ordered. From below, hundreds of molten metal rods shot out, falling at incredible speed through the void. They pierced shields and armor like needles. Ships exploded or were torn apart by the onslaught. The Zereth fleet was breaking. "Retreat! Retreat!" rang out from scattered voices. High Commander Vorgil refused. "We will not run," he shouted. "This is a test. If we lose here, we lose everything." But even his most loyal commanders hesitated. The Leviathan's power was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Back on Earth, people watched live as the battle played out through satellite feeds. Children gasped in amazement. Elders prayed silently. Soldiers stood proud. Humanity was fighting back. Captain Rena stood on the bridge, voice steady. We gave them one warning, she said softly. They chose war. Her eyes flicked to the radar. More ships incoming, reinforcements. The Leviathan powered up again. Prepare for the next attack, Rena said. We will show them Earth is not weak. The Zereth were stunned. They had never met resistance like this. The Dominion was used to fear. But now, they saw something else. Respect and fear. Inside the Leviathan, the AI Sentinel spoke again. Captain, enemy morale is collapsing. They underestimate you no more. Rena smiled faintly. Good. Let's keep it that way. On the battlefield, the tide was turning. The Zereth fleet scattered, damaged and confused. The Leviathan stood alone but unbroken. High Commander Vorvilcan stared at the empty space where his ships had been. His voice was cold but clear. This is only the beginning. The Zereth Dominion was shocked. Their mighty fleet had suffered a heavy defeat, and the mysterious human warship, the Leviathan, still stood strong in the dark void of space. It was unlike any enemy they had faced before. High Commander Vorvilcan paced on the bridge of his damaged flagship. His silver eyes, once full of confidence, now showed a flicker of doubt. Round him, his officers argued. We should retreat and regroup, one young captain urged. Our losses are too great. We are vulnerable now. No, Vorvilcan growled. Retreat means weakness. The humans have shown their strength, yes. But they have only one ship. We still have numbers. We will crush them. But not all agreed. Murmurs of rebellion stirred quietly. Some junior commanders began to question their leaders' orders. Meanwhile, deep in the shadows of the solar system, something unexpected was happening. The Leviathan was not a lone dot. From behind Jupiter's swirling clouds, a second ship appeared smaller. Faster, but no less deadly. It was called the Revenant, built in secret like the Leviathan. Captain Rena Ortiz received a quiet message from the Revenant's commander. They will not stop. We must strike deeper. Rena nodded. Prepare for coordinated attack. We end this war quickly. The Revenant fired a single shot from its main cannon. The beam traveled far, striking a supply ship in the Dominion's rear fleet. The ship exploded in a brilliant flash. The effect was immediate. Confusion spread through the Zereth ranks. Their supply lines were cut. Ships slowed. Some turned back. On board the Leviathan, the crew watched the enemy's chaos grow. Enemy morale is dropping fast. The AI Sentinel reported. Rena smiled. They thought we had only one ship. We have many more secrets. Back on the Zereth flagship, the cracks grew wider. High Commander Vorvilcan slammed his fist on the console. Why did they do this? How do they have more ships? A voice came from the shadows. Commander, said Shiravek, a Zereth officer, who had secretly contacted Earth. I speak for those who want peace. Vorvilcan looked sharply at her. You betrayed us? No, she replied calmly. I betrayed the lie. The Dominion has grown too proud. We will lose everything if we continue. She handed him data showing Earth's hidden fleets, secret bases, and plans. Vorvilcan's expression darkened. Then we are fools. In the quiet darkness, the Leviathan prepared its final move. Captain Rena stood tall on the bridge. Her voice was steady. This war can end now. We offer mercy. She sent a message to the Dominion's remaining fleet. Zereth Dominion, your forces are broken. Surrender now, or face total destruction. Earth seeks peace. But we will not be stopped. There was silence. Then, one by one, the Dominion ships lowered their weapons. Holographic signals of surrender spread through space. High Commander Vorvilcan stared at the message, defeated. This is not the end, he said softly. But it is a new beginning. Far from the battlefield, in the halls of the Galactic Council, leaders gathered in shock. They had ignored Earth for years. They had called it weak, insignificant. Now, Earth held power that could not be denied. Whispers filled the chamber. Humans hit a giant warship, more than one. They broke the Dominion's fleet. The Council scrambled to respond. But Earth's message was clear. The galaxy must respect humanity, or face its wrath. On board the Leviathan, Captain Rena watched the stars pass by. She knew this was only the start. The galaxy was changing. She turned to her crew. "We have won today, but peace will take work." Her voice was firm but kind. "We must be ready for what comes next." The Leviathan's engines glowed softly, slowly. It began to return to Jupiter's shadow, ready to wait, watching the stars, guarding Earth's place in the galaxy. The battle was over. The once mighty Zereth Dominion fleet was scattered and broken. Their pride shattered. The humans had proven they were not to be taken lightly. A quiet settled over the dark void of space. The Leviathan floated silently near Jupiter, its black hole blending into the shadows. Captain Rena Ortiz stood on the bridge, looking out at the stars. Her voice was soft but strong. "They thought we were weak. They thought Earth would bow. They were wrong." Round her, the crew relaxed but remained alert. They had seen victory, but also the cost of war. Back on the Zereth flagship, High Commander Vorvilken sat alone, deep in thought. His silver eyes no longer burned with anger, but with respect. And something new. "We underestimated them," he whispered. He reached for his communicator and sent a message not of war, but of peace. "To Earth and its people, we surrender. We seek to learn, not to fight. Let this be a new beginning." Across the galaxy, the news spread quickly. Alien empires, once arrogant and proud, now looked at humanity differently. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from many worlds gathered to hear Earth's message. Captain Rena, now an ambassador for her planet, spoke clearly. "We did not seek this war, but we will protect our home." She paused, then added, "We hope for peace, but we are ready to defend Earth and all who stand with us." Back on Earth, people celebrated quietly. They knew the galaxy had changed. Humans were no longer just a small, forgotten world. They were a force to be respected. Children dreamed of the stars. Scientists worked on new ideas. Soldiers prepared, knowing the future might hold new challenges. On board the Leviathan, the ship's AI, Sentinel, spoke in its calm voice. "Captain, the galaxy watches. Earth's place has changed forever." Rena nodded. "Yes, Sentinel. And we must be ready for peace, for war, or whatever comes." She looked out into the vastness of space. The stars twinkled quietly. She smiled. "No one will ever forget the day Earth's warship appeared." The Leviathan slowly powered down its engines, returning to its hidden place behind Jupiter. Its giant frame blended once again into the darkness, but its presence was known. A silent guardian watching over humanity, warning to those who would threaten Earth, and a promise that humanity was ready for whatever the stars might bring.